This is 6 Minute English from bbclearningenglish.com.
Hello and welcome to 6 Minute English. I'm Callum Robertson and joining me today for the first time is Finn. Hello, Finn.
Hello, Callum.
One of my favourite places in the world is the Highlands of Scotland. Is that a place you're familiar with, Finn?
Absolutely, very familiar.
And could you describe where are the Highlands and what are the Highlands?
Well, the Highlands are a group of mountains in the northwest of Scotland. Very barren mountains, but an incredibly beautiful part of the country, and popular with people who like hill walking and camping and things like that.
Well, as always in 6 Minute English, we start with a question. And today's is about traditional Highland dress. Where would a Highlander in traditional dress wear his sporran? Would it be A, on his head, B, around his waist, or C, on his feet? Finn, do you know this one?
I think I have an idea. I would say B, around his waist.
Well, we'll find out if you're right a little later on. As we've said, the Scottish Highlands is a beautiful place with its mountains and valleys. We could describe it as having a grandeur. A grandeur. What does that word mean, Finn?
Well, it's a noun, and it's used for a place that has a particularly impressive quality. Now, it's often used to describe natural landscapes. So we could say that the Scottish Highlands has a breathtaking grandeur.
That's right. But all is not well in the Highlands. Its grandeur is being spoiled, and has been spoiled for many years. What's causing this problem? Here's BBC reporter James Cook.
For thousands of years, the grandeur of this landscape has been marred by the misery of the midge. But now they're being trapped by researchers from Edinburgh. Here, they're fighting a big battle with the tiniest of monsters.
Finn, what's causing the problems in the Highlands?
Well, it's something called the midge, which is also known as the midgie. Now, the reporter called it the misery of the midge.
Yes, he used the phrase that the grandeur of the landscape has been marred by the misery of the midge.
Marred by the misery of the midge, yes. Lots of words beginning with M. Marred by the misery of the midge. Now, marred by means spoiled by or ruined by. And he's referring to the unhappiness or misery caused by the midge. And later in the report, he calls the midge the tiniest of monsters.
So the midge is called the tiniest of monsters, but what is a midge?
Well, a midge, or a midgie, as I like to call it, are very small flying insects which bite, and they are all over the Highlands.
We'll learn a little bit more about midges shortly, but let's listen to the first part of the report again.
For thousands of years, the grandeur of this landscape has been marred by the misery of the midge. But now they're being trapped by researchers from Edinburgh. Here, they're fighting a big battle with the tiniest of monsters.
BBC reporter James Cook there. So why are the midges so bad? What makes them monsters? Dr. Alison Blackwell is working on ways to control midges. She describes what they do.
A midge has a set of mouth parts which are like shearing scissors, and they cut a hole in your skin and create a pool of blood, and then they put their mouth parts in and suck from that. And that itself can be very painful. Every tourist you speak to has had a midge experience, and I myself have left campsites early because the midges have been so bad.
So, Finn, what makes midges so bad?
Well, Dr. Blackwell there describes their mouth parts as like a pair of shearing scissors. Now, so not just an ordinary pair of scissors, but scissors with a rough blade, like a saw. So when they bite, and they do like to bite, they cut a hole in your skin, and then they drink your blood. So that can be very painful.
And she goes on to say that every tourist has experienced them.
Yes, and she herself has ended her holidays early because they were so bad.
Let's listen again.
A midge has a set of mouth parts which are like shearing scissors, and they cut a hole in your skin and create a pool of blood, and then they put their mouth parts in and suck from that. And that itself can be very painful. Every tourist you speak to has had a midge experience, and I myself have left campsites early because the midges have been so bad.
Dr. Blackwell there. Now, I think we have to say, Finn, here, that midges are tiny, insects. It's not like there are huge beasts flying around Scotland drinking the blood of the tourists.
No, they're tiny. They're really, really small. But what they lack in size, they make up for in number. Now, sometimes when you're walking in the Highlands, you'll see ahead of you what looks like a little cloud. But now this cloud is not a water cloud or a rain cloud. It's a cloud of midges. There's so many that they look like a black cloud. Let's not let it put us off going to the Highlands, though.
No, I'd certainly still recommend the Highlands as a place to visit. It is beautiful. But just be sure to get some good insect repellent and suitable clothing. Well, just time now for the answer to today's question. Where would a Highlander in traditional dress wear his sporran? Finn, you said?
I said B, around his waist.
And, of course, you'd be right, because a sporran is it's a kind of a purse, isn't it, where you can keep your money and you
Keep
wear...
your money and your whiskey.
Well, that's all we have time for today, but do join us again next time for another 6 Minute English. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
That was 6 Minute English from bbclearningenglish.com.